This story takes place in October of 2009. It had to be one of the scariest things I was involved with, yet it still brings me the creeps to this day. I was out for a walk just in my neighborhood. I remember it was a cool Sunday night, and I remember smelling the burning leaves that people had in their fire pit, giving off that autumn crisp smell. I was carrying my flashlight with me, and some of the streets in my neighborhood had no streetlights, as they were broken and still haven't been fixed from Hurricane Bill, one of the worst hurricanes that hit our area. I continued walking up the street and turned left and went onto another street that was called Fraser's Drive. There were a few duplexes on this street, though not too many houses. Then I noticed something very odd. It looked like what used to be a house that's now looked abandoned. I stopped in my tracks and stood on the road looking at the house. I remember the house used to belong to a customer when I worked at a coffee shop called Bean's Cafe. His name was James McCartney, a very nice man, very polite, always talkative, especially to me and my coworkers. I questioned myself why James would abandon this amazing house. Then it took me a minute to remember that James, his daughter Leah, and Leah's son Mark moved to Vancouver, Canada, a couple of months after James's wife Belinda passed away. I was about to continue down the street when I saw something in the corner of my eye. It looked like a silhouette in the window to the right of the house, and that figure was looking at me. I looked to my left and the figure disappeared as it didn't want to be seen. I walked across the street through the backyard. I hid behind their shrubs so I wouldn't get caught if there was something in that house. I looked up and I noticed a light was on upstairs. I couldn't tell what room it was, but somebody had to be in that house. I looked at the back door to see it was open. That gave me the opportunity to quietly sneak into the house. As I walked in the house, everything was gone, no furniture except for the fridge, kitchen sink, and oven downstairs. I thought to myself that James and the family took the majority of their belongings when they moved. Walking in the kitchen, I heard the sound of creaking floorboards from upstairs, and I heard footsteps from up there as well. Then I heard footsteps just about to approach the stairs. I quickly and quietly hid in the closet that was in the laundry room. The footsteps were now downstairs. I put my hand over my mouth to hope they didn't hear my breathing. I was frozen in fear. Looking through the crack of the closet door, the figure looked to be a female, maybe her late 60s, with gray, shaggy hair that appears like it hadn't been washed in days. I moved away and continued hiding the best I could without getting caught by that crazy woman. Then I heard something that triggers my mind to this day. The laugh of the crazy woman gave me the chills. Now, I've had chills before, from being cold, but nothing compared to this. Listening to the sound of her laugh nearly made me want to throw up. It was the most disturbing sound I've ever heard. I wanted to wait till she was gone so I could make a run for it. I waited for almost like an hour. There was nothing but silence in the room now. I felt like my heart was racing, thinking that woman could be out there. I looked through the crack of the door once again. I didn't see anything. I figured this was the opportunity to run, which I did, and made it out before getting caught. Then I heard the sound of a scream. It was that woman, and it sounded like she was running towards the back door. I hopped the neighbor's fence and hid. Through the crack of the fence, I saw her. She was outside looking around, and I heard her say, "I know you here. Now show yourself." I ran quickly to the neighbor's house and pounded on their door. A middle-aged man opened the door and saw I was out of breath and scared to death. I explained everything to him about a crazy woman in that abandoned house, and she was trying to come after me. The man led me inside his house and he called the police. They came as quickly as they could and searched the entire house. I explained to the cops what happened and told them I knew someone that used to live in this house. A few minutes later, a cop came out with the crazy woman in handcuffs. Another cop came out with more evidence. Apparently, this woman was carrying a knife, drugs, and other lethal weapons, and had been living there in that house trying to make it her home as she was homeless. The cop told us the woman was mentally insane and obviously was planning to do something to herself or someone else. I thought to myself, that's most likely why she looked out the window when I was walking by here. We both thanked the cops for everything and went about our way. The man offered to spend the night at his house. I thanked him for the offer, but politely rejected and told him I was heading back to my friend's house. After I left the area, I ran back home. I locked my doors and went straight to bed. I don't want to think what that crazy woman was going to do, but I'm just glad I made it out of there, or things could have been much worse.